Today's class enables to explain the concept of variables inside an iFlow process, and the validation about processes variables. Before explaining what is a variable, is important to understand what a process is. A process is an instance of a business flow loaded into the system. So, it can be said that a variable is a given procedure. These data are represented by fields that are usually in the forms, and these fields must always be declared in the starting block, in the catalog of variables. So, within the variables catalog, we have two groups of variables, the predefined variables. These are vital to the process. We have the process variables, which are declared by the person who develops, or draws the process to collect, and submit user information. Within the category variables, we have 5 types of variables: variables of type text, entire, decimal type, data type and document type. We can still make lists of variables of text, entire, decimal and data type, which are normally used to make, for example, lists of users that the system will seek in the database, and loads a variable, for example, in a text array type. After demonstrating the concept of variable, I will show then how we validate the variables. The validation of variables in iFlow can be done in 2 ways, through the functional block condition, or by functional block validation. To demonstrate these 2 blocks in operation, I will add one form to my flow, that will serve to insert 2 inputs, to utilize 2 variables in which the first variable will be tested in the block condition, and the second will be tested at block validation. For that, I will unite all the blocks, to allow the flow to continue, and add an end block. Then, I'll parameterize the form fields. I'll input 2 boxes, and a button to move on in the flow. To use and test these variables along the flow, I need to declare them in the catalog of variables. To do this, I open the block start, then I go to the catalog of variables, and then I declare the variables that I declared on my form. Now we can validate these variables in our validation blocks, both in the condition as validation. Then, in block condition we will insert a logical condition that can take 2 distinct values, true or false. And what we will test is if the variable 1, which corresponds to the first course, was completed or not. For this, we will test if the variable 1 is a non-empty one. If it is different, it goes out through the upper exit. If it is empty, or the negation of that condition, it will go down. If the variable is not filled in, we will display a message saying that the variable 1 wasn't completed, and goes back to the initial form. In block validation we have to declare, unlike the block condition, our error condition. This condition will be a logic operation, which in this case will be an operation about the filling of the variable 2. If the variable 2 equals empty, then will show us an error message. This error message will appear in our initial block. So if our error condition is true, the block exit will be the down exit. If the error condition is false, the block exit will be on top. It is the opposite of block condition. The true condition comes out on top, and the fake one exits underneath. So let's summarize our process. If we have a form with 2 fields, these 2 input fields correspond to 2 variables that the user will enter a value in. Then the process will be followed for a condition, and this condition will test the first field, which is the first variable, and will check if the variable was filled, this is, if the variable has a value entered. If you have a value entered, then moves to block validation. If it has no value inserted into the form, it will result in an error message, and will be sent back to the starting block. If the first field is filled, then it proceeds to the validation, and that validation will do a validation on the second field, and will check if the second course was completed. If it is completed, the flow goes to the end, and will finish. If the second field has no value, it will go back to the starting block, with an error message. To run our process, we just need to do the upload into the system. After going to the web portal, we'll upload the demonstration process on the tab panel, to start the process. As we can see here, our form has 2 input fields, variable 1, and 2. If you click next, it will make a test on the first variable. Because we haven't filled in anything, we'll check that it will end up in error, and it will be requested to complete the first field. Then we insert a value in the first variable, we'll validate the condition. The condition will be true, and it goes to check the second variable. It will give us an error, because the variable 2 is not filled in. The validation automatically fills in the form with an output error in red. In this case will be the first form, which we declared in our flow. If we put a value in the variable 2, all validations are true and the I hope that this demonstration was useful. On the next video I'll approach more functional blocks, the block more used in process modeling inside a company. I will talk about the forward blocks, which are the blocks that serve to send the processes to other user, or groups of users. I will also talk about the bin shell block, that is used to insert Java codes into the process. I will talk about the template block theme, that is used to draw templates forms, and to reutilize those templates in various forms. and I will also demonstrate how it is done an association of variables with the assign block. For any questions, contact me to my email, manuel.costa@infosystema.com.